So this chapter of DanDaDan picks up exactly where we left off last chapter, with Kinta and Okurun going to battle with the Jet Booster Cur and Heisayi the school bully. And one thing that's very apparent in this fight is how different these two teams are of fighters, because we have one side of the group, Kinta and Okurun, who are doing their absolute best to work together and work as a team, despite the fact that both of them are almost polar opposites. And we even see this as we get the robot merge later on in the chapter, where Kinta admits that, hey, you know, I'm creative, I can build all these different things with my nanomachines and keep merging our robots and do everything, but Okurun, you are the one that has combat experience. You are the one that knows how to fight. Without you working in tandem with my robots, we are not going to be able to win, because Okurun, of course, we know, has been nerfed drastically without Turbo Granny. He did play a pretty pivotal role when he fought against Kokiyuki Shiro, but again, he had Ira with all of her spirit powers, and Momo, who despite being small, still does have her telekinesis. So he had a lot of help, and also people that he's worked with often before, and people that he knows how to cooperate with. I mean, Ira and Okurun quite literally trained together during the musician Topa. So I do think it's interesting that that is the core struggle of this chapter, is Kinta trying to fuse with Okurun. Again, Kinta being much more of a brain heavy fighter, whereas Okurun is much more of an instinct body heavy fighter. Contrast that with the Jet Fighter Cur and Heisayi, the school bully. It's actually extremely funny how they're kind of suffering from the same problem, except just a little bit different. Because where Kinta and Okurun are struggling just because they're two people that have never actually worked together before, the Jet Cur and Heisayi are people that haven't worked together in a fight necessarily, but their big problem is the fact that they both want to kill Okurun for their own revenge purposes. We have slowly been getting small panels and glimpses trickle to us of what appears to be the Jet Booster Cur's backstory. Even Okurun is surprised in this chapter that when the spacesuit comes off a little bit, it reveals a girl. It doesn't reveal an octopus, which is what we thought the Cur were. So I'm interested to see how that is going to affect Okurun going forward in this fight, and if he's going to start looking at the Jet Booster Cur differently, especially considering that even last chapter he was already saying that, hey, I don't want to fight you. We are no longer enemies. I'm going to take you out if I have to. You don't need to hurt me to get revenge. Realistically, I said it even last video, this person taking a grudge out on Takakura because Okurun killed the Cur and stopped the Cur invasion when she wanted to do that, as much as you can agree and understand and empathize with the fact that, hey, she spent hundreds of years as a double agent looking to take out Hoster, the leader of the Cur squad herself, and just to have someone else do it is definitely very upsetting. But if the goal of what you wanted was to have the Cur be trampled, have the Cur be destroyed, didn't you accomplish that already? It just had to be you that did it, you selfish person. Anyway, we do get a fun little Berserk reference, and I'm not exactly sure if this is, we were having such a great time in paradise and then, oh my god, life is over, or if this Jet Booster Cur's husband or boyfriend is being like manipulated by a fake woman while she's being thrown into, you know, the Cur alien sludge. It's unclear, and we're just gonna have to wait for a couple chapters, I imagine, to get that full backstory and figure out what has hurt her so much. As of right now, it's gonna be completely interrupted because Heisayi the school bully refuses to let the Jet Booster Cur continue fighting Takakura, to the point that they even start fighting amongst each other. Apparently, Heisayi with the jumping crone is like super badass and very powerful, at least strong enough to just blitz and overwhelm the Jet Booster Cur. This is a Jet Booster Cur that was in the Space Globalist arc taking on Okurun with his Turbo Granny powers. Sure, you could argue he didn't have all of his buffs yet. He didn't have the electrical power buff. To see that Heisayi has already reached that point, if not surpassed it, just on his first transformation alone, it opens up a lot of different questions. Most importantly, I think what could be his downfall is the very fact that, based off of his buff ass legs and the fact that he is not wearing up, you know, disengaging, he is in constant all out mode for what seems to be since this entire fight. And that might ultimately make Heisayi's weakness. Because remember, when the story first began, Okurun was really only able to go all out speed once or twice. And sure, Jumping Crone and Turbo Granny are two entirely different yokais. The similarities between them can't be denied. Even more so, they can't be denied because giving Heisayi Jumping Crone in the first place is definitely meant to be a major parallel. I also think it's funny that Heisayi this entire fight is just unable to comprehend anybody's own opinions or feelings, and it shows just how self-centered and selfish that he truly is, and how much he cares about his reputation and just his social standing. Because after you kick the shit out of Okarun, what is Heisayi's plan here? Obviously, Count Saint Germain is going to exploit this evil side of Heisayi. Realistically, it shows how short-sighted he really is as a person, because not only is he completely going all out and fucking up his partner that's supposed to be in this fight, again, you're going up against two people that have way more combat experience than you. Even if you don't want to work with the Jet Booster Kerr, at the very least you can make a plan with her. He's not even trying to. He quite literally mollywops her and just slams her into the ground to where she can't fight anymore, which literally just ends up giving Kinta and Okarun plenty of openings to start fighting. The big set piece of this chapter is Kinta and Okarun merging with their nano machines, because obviously Okarun, who is so used to fighting inside Turbo Granny, even though he's actually putting up a pretty decent fight in this big armored suit, I gotta give it to him. The fact that he already has like technique names, pile drive, and everything, that he's throwing hands with the Jet Booster Kerr of all people, yeah, that's gotta tell me that Okarun, even without Turbo Granny, has those combat moves and just hand-to-hand kind of just ingrained into his flesh at this point. But again, once Kinta and Okarun actually merge and Okarun becomes the legs while Kinta becomes the top, it shows again the big parallel between these two characters. If they are not able to combine the brains and the muscles, then they are just going to fall to Heisayi, who again is not even that experienced. It shows how much of a big nerf they are taking and putting on these protagonists. I also think it's funny that Heisayi keeps telling Okarun to transform and use his powers when it's very clear that at least we know Okarun does not have Turbo Granny. And if Okarun did have Turbo Granny, something tells me this fight would be happening a lot quicker, because Turbo Granny Okarun is one, definitely going to be stronger than the Jet Booster Kerr, because I don't know if this exosuit is supposed to be more powerful, but I mean, she got beaten in Space Globalist arc and then laid around, you know, injured until Count Saint Germain went to go find her. So I don't think she got more powerful. Taking on Heisayi though, it really is great to see that they're giving him as much power as they do and not making him just a loser or someone that's easily ran over. This could also just because he's going up against Kinta, who is obviously not one of the most combat oriented people, and Okarun, who has lost all of his ability at this point. So that might be what's making this fight so dynamic. Either way, I am very excited to see how these two groups overcome their differences. Kinta and Okarun need to find a way to work together. Kinta is weird and out there, and I think Okarun needs to match his wavelength and synchronize with him. I think that's the issue. Kinta is like so high level, whereas Okarun is again just so, you know, grounded, foundational. He has all of the base skills, whereas Kinta has all of the imagination and creativity. Will the Jet Booster Kerr end up becoming a ally for us and joining our side, with her backstory slowly getting revealed to us and it being shown that realistically she has no reason to be fighting us right now? Sure, Count Saint Germain gave her the exosuit, but I feel like unless he can remote control the exosuit, she should have every reason to go on our side, because I think he would be the new villain to put our sights onto and take down. Because one, the partner that he set you up with is just an asshole, is beating the shit out of you. Something tells me that this alien woman, just like Bamora, whatever your translation is going to join our team, fill us in. She could be our access to all of the information we need on Count Saint Germain, because she seems to know who he is and what he's about. Even at the very least, if she doesn't know what his secret plans are, she knows what he's been doing for probably the last couple of decades, based off of her being a double agent and working alongside Germain. She could be a very valuable ally in more ways than one, not just fighting, but with knowledge. The last point that I'll leave you guys with is a question that I've seen a lot of people in the community ask, and I think it's genuinely a really important thing to chew on and think about, is what are we going to do with Heisayi after this? Now, obviously, him being a crazy yelling asshole, I mean, Heisayi sucks, right? He's a school bully, we can all admit that. But the person that he is now while taking on Jumping Crone's transformation is most likely a full-on, you know, multiplication and just emphasizing of his worst traits possible people. We've seen this with Okarun. We've seen this with Unjizuma. So it's most likely that Heisei isn't always this mean-spirited evil person that's gonna beat the shit out of even his own allies. He is probably suffering from the effects of the mental, you know, fluctuation of transforming and being merged with a yokai. Saying that, I wonder how that kind of is parallel with Okarun and Kinta's issue. Is Okarun going to have to do the same thing he did with Turbo Granny? You know, find a way to synchronize their spirits and find a way to synchronize their fighting styles to make things work better. But even more importantly now, if we do beat Heisei, obviously with the Jet Booster Cur, if we beat her, she's an alien. She can either go back to her own planet. Most likely she's going to end up helping us fight against Count Saint Germain. Heisei though, is he going to join the team, the school bully, or is he going to get beaten and then live his life? Now, we already have the gym teacher who was defeated by Ira, Koki, and Rin. His crimes were a little bit more easier. This bro needs to go to jail. That simple. Heisei though, he needs one, you know, a reality check. He needs to realize that he needs to not be someone that peaks in high school. Probably should, you know, give a little bit more thought to his future and how much after high school should care to him more than girls don't like him in high school. Now, my guy, you got all the college, you got after college, you got plenty. Go study abroad. Go to Europe or something, my guy. I don't know what to tell you, but taking out all of this mental anguish and angst into a transformation and then joining the evil team, I don't know what to tell you, and I don't know what your redemption is. I think it is really funny to me that the genocidal alien is more likely to get a heartfelt backstory that brings them over to our side than the probably reasonably traumatized school bully who is taking out their own insecurities on other people is, which is just, you know, not lost on me. Yeah, I do wonder what's going to happen to Heisei if he loses. Is Heisei going to stay a villain after this? Is this fight going to end on a draw and Heisei continues to fight for Count Saint Germain? Or just like the gym teacher, is he going to be bodied and I guess either we're showing him the wrong of his ways, or it could go anywhere. But I know no matter what, I will be here every week discussing this series because I love DanDaDan, and if you also love DanDaDan, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the video so you don't miss any future DanDaDan videos. I have some How Strong is Granny Psycho, I have some How Strong is Okarun, How Strong is Count Saint Germain, and I've got an awesome secret theory coming out soon, guys, so don't miss any of that. Check out the main channel if you want some extra content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, 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 peace.